Hi everyone, Kieran Brown here and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about why you can't stick to the gym and how to fix it. So who's this video for? It's for men who have previously started going to the gym once or maybe more times but just couldn't keep it going consistently. And you know that the gym is the best form of exercise for your physique, but for whatever reason, it just seems to be stop, start, and you just want to finally be able to go long enough to see some actual results. So, what we're going to discuss today, we're going to go through the reasons why someone might not be able to stick with a gym habit, how to work around them, how to make going to the gym easy, and then a little bonus at the end. So I came up with this acronym, FO, which explains why the gym up until this point has been your foe, like your enemy. And the F in FO stands for friction. Friction comes from physics. It's a force that resists the sliding or rolling of one object over another. So you can see in the picture on the right, on the top one, the guy's trying to pull this heavy object. So he's pulling one way, and then friction between the ground and the objects is pushing in the opposite direction. And that's how I think of it. It's pulling you in the opposite direction. So in the case of the gym, you're wanting to pull like towards the habit of going to the gym, and there's certain things in your life that are pulling you the other way and make it difficult for you to move this object, difficult for you to finally shift, this habit of not going to the gym. So a few examples of things that cause friction in terms of the gym is timing. So that can be with regards to like the length of a session. If you've got a session which is like 3 hours long and a session which is 45 minutes long, the 3 hour session has a lot more friction. It takes a lot more effort and energy to complete that entire session compared to like a 45-minute session, which is more like short and sharp. You don't get too drained and it's much easier to stick to. Next example is exercises. So this would be if there's a particular type of exercise which you really don't like doing. Like common ones are like your squats, like big squats and deadlifts, for example. If you don't like doing them, it's going to take a lot more force to be able to get you to do that. And whereas an alternative, say like a leg extension, yeah, it's not going to be as optimal, but it's going to take a lot less force for you to actually be able to do 3 sets of a leg extension compared to 3 sets of a squat. And the final example there is distance, and that's like distance to the gym. Like if you have a home gym, for example, there's not much friction at all there because it's nice and easy. You just literally go next door or into your garage or whatever, and compare that to having a gym, like a half an hour drive away. When you're sitting there and you're contemplating, like you want to go to the gym, it will be much easier just to go next door or compared to getting in the car and driving half an hour. Now, most people, including myself, don't have all the equipment we need at home. So when you're picking a gym, take into account the distance and the time it takes to get there, and the closer the better. So the O in our FO acronym is for outcome, and the key here, in my opinion, is to have a specific numerical goal measured daily, and this helps to keep you motivated to keep going. Because if you have a goal which is very generic and too long term, for example, like lose 20 pounds in 12 weeks, it's a good goal, and it's important to state that at the start so that you can build like these little micro goals. But we also need goals on a smaller time scale to keep us motivated day to day, because if like everyone has the same goals really when it comes to the fat loss. You want to lose X amount of pounds in a set amount of time, but the difference really is what you actually do on the day to day. And I find that measuring like the data daily, it helps to make you helps to make better decisions each day. And then, you know, good days lead to good weeks, eventually lead to good months. So I've got there two targets. The first is weight. So obviously having like a weight target. And then, but you know, that's not necessarily enough. And it's not weight that we want to lose really, it's body fat. So that's why it's also important to have the body fat percent as well, because you know, two people can be the same weight, but if one of them is 25% body fat and the other is 15% body fat, then the guy with 15% body fat is going to look much better, even though they're the same weight. So I've got there in the bottom left a BMI target of between 24 and 27. I think that's a good goal for most men, and a lot of people disregard BMI because it just takes into account weight. And you know, if you've got someone who's jacked and got loads of muscle, then it will tell them that they're, you know, overweight or like obese. But I think if you pair it with body fat percentage, it's a really useful tool, and it's what I've been using. So we're gonna have a look at some examples. So I've got here three different heights and the target weight range in the BMI of 24 to 27. So for someone who's 5'7", you're looking at around 70 to 78 kilos. That's like a good weight range in my opinion. And I've got the pounds conversions there. 5'10", you want to look around 76 to 86 kilos, and 6'1", 82 to 92 kilos, and a target body fat of around 10 to 15%. So if you're aiming for the lower end of that, so close to 10%, then you look at the lower end of the weight scale. So if you're 5'7" and you want to be, you know, really like shredded, aiming for like around the 10% body fat mark, then you look at around like 70 kilos. And then if you want a bit more muscle, you don't mind carrying a little bit of extra fat, then you can aim for the higher end of the range. And that's sort of what I go off there. And then on the right is different examples of each of the body fat ranges. It's difficult because, first of all, body fat measurements, they are really an estimate. And there's so many different methods of measuring body fat that it's not always going to be accurate. But I just find that, you know, the more pictures you see, the more examples of the different body fat percentages, you know, the better idea you'll eventually get in your mind. And finally, the E in the FOE acronym is enjoyment. And this goes back to such an important point that the more you enjoy a gym session or enjoy anything, the more likely you are to repeat it. Think about the things which you do instead of the gym. You know, you might be thinking, I want to start a gym habit. I know it's going to be good for me, but I just can't seem to get the motivation. Well, think about what you do instead of the gym. It might be to watch TV, or you might play video games, like those sorts of things. Like why do you do those instead? And it's because you enjoy them. Like, you're not going to do something you don't enjoy instead of going to the gym. So this can be like exercise by exercise as well. Like I was saying earlier, if there's an exercise you don't like, don't do it, at least for now initially. So the very first training program I bought, it had Bulgarian split squats on the leg day, and I tried it out, and I just really didn't like them. I mean, I was I was getting, I was really feeling it in the muscle, and I was getting stronger from it. But when it came to the next leg day, I just really wouldn't look forward to it. Excuse me. And I sometimes just end up like skipping the session because I was just like, oh, I really don't want to do them. But the better thing in that case is to just like swap it out for an alternative. And as I was mentioning earlier, the squats and the leg extensions, like if you really get anxiety before you go into the gym because you don't want to do these squats and you're just starting out and you're in the process of building the habit, then I don't see a problem at the start with swapping out for the leg extensions, for example, a exercise which you're far more likely to enjoy. And the bonus is the golden rule, in my opinion, of building any habit, particularly the gym, is to aim for consistency before intensity. And I think this picture on the right illustrates it so well. You've got two ladders there. The one on the left has a lot more rungs on it, with a much smaller distance between each one. And the one on the right has far fewer rungs, and it's obviously much easier to climb up and get started. You see that the person down there, the bottom rung is too high, and the equivalent to this with the gym is if there's too much friction for the session, you don't have an outcome you're going for, and you don't enjoy it. Like if you're doing like a 2 or 3 hour gym session with exercises you don't like, then it's impossible to actually get on that first rung and get consistent. And without that start, then you won't get anywhere. Whereas the guy on the left, he took smaller, like micro steps, and he was able to just first of all get on the ladder, and then once you got some momentum, then you can start adding some more complexity. You can have longer sessions, more exercises, trying to optimize your sessions more. Same with diet as well. Start with small changes, and then it will really build up over time once you have the momentum. But the most important thing at the start is the consistency. And for me, what really helped was doing 3 45-minute sessions a week. That was when I finally got consistent. I'd been for years and years just doing small bursts of like really nailing like 5 or 6 sessions a week, but then after a few weeks, just end up not going, and it was just yo-yoing all the time, until finally I was just like, all right, I'm going to do 3 45-minute sessions a week. And then from there, once I built up that consistency and you start to trust yourself, and you start to see some results, then you can start to build upon that. And now I do 5 or 6 sessions a week they're usually anywhere from like 75 to 90 minutes. Like with ease, found what I enjoy. And yeah, it just makes it seems easy now to go to the gym. And that's the stage that you want to get to. You want it to be easy and enjoyable, to actually get to the gym. And then once, when you're training, obviously you want to train within a couple reps of failure. That's sort of like the end goal. But if you're just starting out, there's nothing wrong with just going 4 or 5 reps from failure. It's just getting those ticks in the boxes of, I went to the gym today, and then went to the gym 3 times this week, and just building that confidence and getting the habit first. So in summary, to finally stay consistent in the gym and make sure that it's not your foe, you have to reduce the friction, have a specific numerical outcome, and make your training split enjoyable. And if you can do these 3 things, then going to the gym is going to become easy for you, and you're going to be able to stick with it long enough to actually start seeing results and finally stop the yo-yoing of, having a consistent patch of the gym and then, just getting demotivated and having time off. Yeah, I think this is the key to finally sticking to the gym. Thanks so much for watching.